Have you ever found yourself lost in a whirlwind of emotions, feeling like they were controlling the course of your life? This is more common than it seems. We all face moments when situations throw us off balance emotionally. Sometimes, it's as if life is defeating us, with emotions flaring up inside us and making us lose control. In those moments, it feels like the world is against us, and we find ourselves at the mercy of our own reactions. Many people confuse Stoicism with indifference, but that's far from the truth. It's not about becoming cold or distant, but learning to deal with emotions wisely and balanced. Imagine being able to strengthen your heart in such a way that life's turmoil doesn't knock you down. Imagine acting rationally and controlled, even in the most challenging situations, becoming immune to the manipulations of those who try to use and discard you. In this video, you will learn to become emotionally strong, even in the face of this cruel world. We will explore the 10 rules to shield your emotions, which will help you transform your impulsive reactions into serene and assertive responses. This is the path to becoming a stronger person, immune to external adversities, and still maintaining your inner strength. Let's begin. Rule number 1. Focus on what you can control. One of the greatest sources of emotional suffering comes from our desire to control the uncontrollable. In Stoicism, one of the most powerful lessons is understanding the distinction between what is within our reach and what is not. The Stoics believed that the key to inner and emotional peace was to concentrate our efforts and energy only on what we can truly change while accepting serenely what is beyond our control. Think about daily situations. It could be slow traffic, a decision made by someone at work, or even the behavior of other people. These examples illustrate situations that are entirely out of our domain. As much as we want to change these circumstances, it is beyond our power. However, what is within our control is our reaction. By focusing on this, we avoid unnecessary frustrations and reduce the stress these situations can cause us. To apply this rule, constantly ask yourself, is this under my control? If the answer is no, take a deep breath and release the need to try to change the situation. Accepting that certain things are beyond our control is liberating and allows us to live more balanced lives. Fixation exercise. Make a list of situations that have recently caused you the most stress or frustration. Then divide these situations into 2 categories: what I can control and what I can't control. Focus your actions only on what's in the first category. Rule number 2. Practice objective vision. In many moments of life, it is not the facts themselves that disturb us, but the way we interpret those facts. Our emotions can distort reality, leading us to overreact to situations that, viewed objectively, would not be so dramatic. The Stoic practice of objective vision teaches us to see things as they truly are, without allowing fear, anger, or anxiety to amplify the severity of problems. Imagine dealing with criticism at work. Instead of taking the criticism as a personal attack, objective vision asks you to evaluate it coldly. What exactly was said? Is there something useful to take from it? How can you learn from this situation without letting emotions take over? Remember, reality is often less dramatic than our mind makes us believe. Our fears and anxieties tend to turn small problems into major catastrophes, but when we observe the situation objectively, we can see things as they truly are. Fixation exercise. The next time you face a stressful or emotional situation, stop for a moment and take a deep breath. Ask yourself, am I seeing this objectively, or are my emotions distorting reality? Write down in a notebook what you believe are the objective facts of the situation and reflect if your emotional response is proportional to reality. Rule number 3. Remember transience. One of the greatest truths of life is that everything is temporary. Our moments of joy, the difficulties we face, the feelings we experience, everything eventually passes. For the Stoics, this understanding was fundamental to achieving serenity. The practice of memento mori, remembering mortality, teaches us to keep in mind that life is short and fragile, and this should encourage us to value the present. When we are in the midst of a difficult situation or feel overwhelmed by negative emotions, it's easy to believe that it will last forever. However, by remembering transience, we gain a more balanced perspective. We know that no matter how intense the pains and challenges of the moment are, they too will pass. This awareness helps us not to cling so much to fleeting problems, allowing us to live the present with more lightness and gratitude. The same goes for moments of happiness. Knowing that these moments are temporary, we can live them fully, savoring each instant without letting ourselves be carried away by the anxiety of when they will end. Thus, understanding transience helps us find balance in both pain and pleasure, creating a solid foundation for a more stable emotional life. Fixation exercise. When facing a stressful or emotionally challenging situation, stop and remember, this too shall pass. Try to apply this perspective to your feelings, observing how they change over time. Write about how the simple act of remembering transience affected your perception of the situation. Rule number 4. Accept suffering as part of growth. The Stoics believed that suffering was not something to be feared or avoided at all costs, but a natural part of life that offers a unique opportunity for growth. The pain and challenges we face can teach us valuable lessons, shape our character, and strengthen our resilience. By facing suffering as a teacher rather than an enemy, we begin to change our relationship with it. Imagine someone going through a period of loss or financial difficulty. Instead of succumbing to despair, they can see this experience as an opportunity to learn about their own strength, develop patience, and find new ways to overcome challenges. When we accept that suffering is part of the human condition and face it head-on with courage and resilience, we become emotionally stronger. This Stoic principle teaches us to see suffering as a phase, not a permanent state. By accepting pain as part of the growth process, we develop the ability to deal with it more effectively, without letting ourselves be completely overcome by difficulties. Fixation exercise. Reflect on a difficult moment in your life that, despite being painful, brought some kind of growth or learning. Write about what you learned from this experience and how it helped shape who you are today. Next time you face a challenge, reread this reflection and remember that suffering can be a path to inner strength. Rule number 5. Practice self-control. Emotions are powerful forces. They can drive us to act impulsively and often lead to decisions we regret. For the Stoics, self-control is a fundamental virtue for staying calm in any situation. Without this skill, we are swept away by emotional waves, overreacting instead of responding wisely. When you feel a strong emotion, like anger, frustration, or fear, it can be tempting to react instantly, but this is where self-control comes in. By consciously pausing, you create a space between the stimulus, what generated the emotion, and your response. In this brief interval, you gain clarity and time to reflect on the best way to act. Take a deep breath, allow the intensity of the emotion to subside, and then make a decision. The Stoics advised using reason to evaluate the situation objectively before reacting. Over time and practice, self-control becomes a natural tool for dealing with difficult situations, helping to maintain serenity and avoid regrets. Fixation exercise. Whenever you feel an intense emotion like anger or anxiety, practice the 10-second rule. Count to 10, breathing deeply between each number. Then, ask yourself, how can I respond wisely to this situation? Write down the moments when you managed to control your emotions and how this positively affected the outcome. Rule number 6. Cultivate gratitude. Gratitude is a fundamental practice for living a full and satisfying life. In a society that often pushes us to always want more success, more material goods, more recognition, the Stoics teach us to appreciate what we already have. According to this philosophy, true happiness does not come from external achievements, but from the ability to value the small things in life and find contentment in the present. When we practice gratitude, we change our perspective. Instead of focusing on what we lack, we learn to recognize the value of the things we already possess, our relationships, our health, our opportunities. This protects us from constant dissatisfaction and gives us a more balanced view of life. Gratitude also helps us realize that often, what we seek externally already exists abundantly within us. For the Stoics, the secret to a happy life is not in accumulating wealth or status, but in learning to see the intrinsic value of each moment. By practicing gratitude, we free ourselves from the insatiable desire for more, and begin to live a calmer and happier life. Fixation exercise. Every night before bed, make a list of 3 things you are grateful for. They can be big or small, from a friend's support to the beauty of a sunset. By practicing this exercise regularly, you begin to train your mind to focus on the positive, reducing feelings of dissatisfaction and discouragement. Rule number 7. Develop an unperturbed mind. Having an unperturbed mind is the heart of Stoic practice. It is about developing such strong inner serenity that the adversities of life, no matter how harsh, cannot shake your inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great practitioners of Stoicism, taught that nothing outside your soul can really harm you. This thought reflects the idea that, regardless of external circumstances, true power lies in our response to them. Developing this attitude does not mean being indifferent or insensitive, but rather learning not to overreact to events that are beyond your control. After all, we often worry or stress over things we have no power over. The Stoics believed that by training the mind to remain calm amidst chaos, we become more resilient, wise, and prepared to deal with any challenge. This unperturbedness comes from a deep understanding of the nature of life. The highs and lows are inevitable, and our reactions are what truly define our experience. By cultivating this attitude, you create an emotional shield that protects you from the destructive impact of setbacks, criticism, or losses. An unperturbed mind does not mean you will never feel pain, sadness, or frustration, but rather that when you feel these emotions, you will be able to process them healthily and rationally, without letting them define or destabilize your life. How to develop an unperturbed mind. Accept impermanence. Understand that everything passes, both good and bad moments. Knowing that difficulties are temporary helps not to cling to suffering. Focus on reason, not emotions. Instead of being carried away by the initial emotions that a situation provokes, take a deep breath and analyze the facts rationally. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And more importantly, does this really matter in the long run? Practice detachment. Do not allow your well-being to depend on external things like the opinion of others, material goods, or even events beyond your control. By depending only on yourself and your mind, you become freer and less vulnerable to the blows of fate. Fixation exercises. Unperturbed mind journal. At the end of each day, reflect on a situation where you felt emotionally shaken. Write down how you reacted and what you could have done differently to stay calm. Regularly practicing this reflection will help you identify patterns of emotional reaction and train your mind to respond more serenely in the future. Distancing exercise. When facing a problem or stressful situation, visualize yourself as an external observer. Imagine that you are watching the situation from the outside, without getting emotionally involved. How can this distancing change your perspective? This exercise helps to reduce the emotional impact of events and cultivate a calmer and more objective mind. Rule number 8. Practice mindfulness in the present. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living in the present moment, an essential practice for cultivating mental calm and emotional resilience. For them, true life only happens now, the past is gone, and the future has not yet arrived. This means we should not be attached to regrets or fears about what is to come. Excessive worry about the past or future robs us of energy, creating anxiety and preventing us from acting with clarity in the present. Stoicism invites us to cultivate mindfulness, being fully aware of what is happening here and now, both internally and externally. By practicing this presence, we find strength in our immediate power of action and free ourselves from emotional distractions that drain our energy. When our mind is focused on the present, we become more efficient and less overwhelmed by worries. Thus, we can make better decisions, maintaining a calm posture in the face of challenges and emotionally turbulent moments. Remember, the present moment is the only one you truly have control over. Fixation exercise. During the day, take regular pauses to practice mindfulness. Stop for a few minutes and consciously observe your environment. Pay attention to details, sounds, colors, textures. Focus on how you feel physically, muscle tension, breathing, and emotionally, calm, agitated, worried. Whenever you notice your mind wandering to the past or future, gently bring your attention back to the present. This can be done several times throughout the day, especially in moments of stress. Rule number 9. Re-evaluate your fears. The Stoics believed that many of our fears result from an exaggerated interpretation of situations. Instead of running away from our fears, we should confront them rationally. For them, fear is not caused by what really happens, but by the way we interpret events. Ask yourself, what's the worst-case scenario? Often, fear is amplified by our imagination, and by rationalizing it, we realize that the worst outcome is not as terrifying as we thought. This practice gives us the necessary clarity to face our fears objectively, preventing them from paralyzing us. By facing reality without emotional distortions, we become stronger and more resilient. The Stoics encourage us to realize that, regardless of what happens, we can always choose how to react. And it is this choice that truly defines the impact a situation will have on us. Fixation exercise. Choose a situation that causes you fear or anxiety and write a detailed text about that fear. Describe exactly what worries you and what the worst-case scenarios could be. Then reflect on your ability to handle these challenges. Ask yourself, would I really not be able to face this? Often, by doing this analysis, you will realize that the most catastrophic scenario is not as devastating as you imagined, which can provide immediate relief. After that, think of a practical action you could take if that fear became reality. Having a plan of action not only helps to reduce anxiety, but also increases your confidence to face potential challenges. By preparing to deal with the situation, you feel stronger and more capable, turning fear into an opportunity for personal growth. Rule number 10. Develop healthy indifference. In Stoicism, the concept of indifference is not about not caring about things or living apathetically. On the contrary, it refers to the ability to maintain inner peace regardless of external circumstances. Healthy indifference means that you can have preferences and goals, but you do not let the lack of control over the outcome affect your happiness or emotional balance. The Stoics teach that we must accept what we cannot control and focus on our reaction to these events. This involves not allowing external factors, such as material possessions, the opinions of others, or unpredictable outcomes, to affect your mental state. This does not mean abandoning your ambitions or dreams, but rather dealing with them with serenity and detachment. Developing this attitude of healthy indifference brings immense freedom. You stop depending on circumstances and external expectations to find peace and satisfaction. Instead of fighting the inevitable, you accept whatever comes with calm, knowing that your true strength lies within you. Fixation exercise. Identify something you value greatly. It can be a material possession, a professional goal, a relationship, or a specific outcome you wish to achieve. Visualize losing that object or not achieving that goal. Ask yourself, how would I react if this happened? How would I feel if this situation was out of my control? Practice healthy indifference. Remember that your happiness should not depend on these external factors. Find peace in the idea that even without these outcomes or possessions, you can still be happy and complete. Focus on how you would maintain your calm and resilience in such a situation. Reflect on this practice daily. Whenever you notice that you are attached to something beyond your control, remember to practice healthy indifference and focus on what you can do internally to maintain serenity. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that we have power over our minds, not over external events. This reminds us of the importance of focusing on what we can control, our reactions and attitudes towards life's unpredictability. By integrating these Stoic teachings, we build a solid foundation of patience and resilience, preparing us to face life with determination and emotional balance. These principles not only guide us in difficult times but also help us become more fulfilled and satisfying versions of ourselves, shaping a future we can be proud of. With these rules, you have armed yourself with the strength of a spiritual warrior. Let the fire of wisdom and determination within you guide your life. Every difficulty and challenge are opportunities to grow and strengthen. Remember that life is in constant change, and it is up to you to control your own journey. Do not allow negative things to divert your focus and determination. You have the power to control your mind and choose how to handle each situation. Before we conclude our journey today, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss sources of encouragement and valuable knowledge about Stoic philosophy. We will always be by your side, supporting you on the path to conquering life. Click the like button and share to spread Stoic philosophy to more people. Leave a comment below the video, or if you are at a loss for words, simply write gratitude to show your commitment to applying these rules in your daily life. Continue on this journey and let your inner strength guide you to conquer each day. Life is like a constant battle, and you are the winner. In our journey of self-discovery and personal growth, we encounter challenges that test our resilience and our ability to deal with emotions. The 10 rules of Stoicism offer a powerful guide not only to control our emotional reactions, but also to cultivate an inner fortress that allows us to thrive in the face of adversity. Each of these rules teaches us not only to face difficulties, but to embrace them as opportunities to grow and mature. By prioritizing self-awareness and emotional honesty, we are building the foundation for a more balanced and meaningful life. For example, in the workplace, being honest with yourself about personal limits not only prevents emotional burnout, but also strengthens interpersonal relationships by setting clear and realistic expectations. Stoicism reminds us that prioritizing our well-being is not selfishness, but a necessity for genuinely caring for others after we have cared for ourselves. By practicing these principles, we build not only personal confidence but also a solid foundation for a spiritually enriching and emotionally balanced life. On life's journey, we are constantly challenged by unpredictable circumstances and intense emotions. True invulnerability does not lie in avoiding such challenges, but in facing them with integrity, courage, and compassion. By honoring our feelings and seeking balance between vulnerability and strength, we strengthen not only ourselves but also our connections with the world around us. May every step you take towards these ideals strengthen your soul and illuminate your path. Let your inner strength guide you to conquer each new day. Always remember, life is a journey of continuous growth, and you, with your ability to learn, adapt, and grow, are truly a winner. Thank you for embarking on this journey with us and allowing Stoicism to inspire your personal path. May your choices and actions reflect the wisdom and strength you possess. Until the next video, my friends.